Hello, beautiful tribe, and welcome to Magic Month of September. If you don't know Magic Month is a forecast that gives you an insight into the astrology and the energy and the channeled guidance about the month, so that you can use all of this information to have to know the time to align, to know the times that are right for healing, the times that are right for manifesting, the times where you just need to be. And if you don't know me, then my name is Karila, and I am from Starlight Temple, and I adore Magic Month. It always really helps me to understand what my month is about, because when we understand the astrology, when we understand the energy, when we have the bird's eye spirit guide channeling viewpoint, when we understand the seasons more intimately, then we can participate with the processes that we are living, rather than participate and integrate with the processes that we are living, rather than resisting them. And those of you that know Magic Month will know that Magic Month this year has been saying time and time and time again that this year is so important and it's so crucial astrologically. This year and next year are definitely the two most important years in terms of our collective ascension. And 25 it has been so huge. And what I will say about September is, all year we've been talking about the astrological birth of the new earth and everything from that viewpoint. But of course, this is a feminine planet. And birth takes 9 months. Like, this month is it's a month of huge shift, huge shift, really powerful rebirth energies. But also what I would say is practical ones. It's if you've been following Magic Month in the last over the summer, everything's been very kind of outer planet and very big picture and collective. And September is like, now get personal, now do it in your own lives, in your micro realities. It's like, bring these massive changes into your world, into your life, into your reality. So if you think of when a woman is pregnant, and there's this massive soul energy with her when she's pregnant, and there's all of this promise of change, and the change is happening in her body and everything like that. But then there's the time when the baby has arrived and her life actually has to change, and in a way September feels like that. It's like, baby's here. New earth is here. Your lives are going to have to change, your purpose, everything is going to be reorientating. And so September's got this there's so much Virgo energy in September. It's definitely the most present energy, and Virgo really is about the practical service. It's about how do we actually make this happen? And in a way, when I look at the forecast for September and I tune in, I understand that there's a potential in our consciousness to understand that we as humans, like, we are the change. We are, it's kind of about human miracles, it's about the power of humanity. It's about the power of in a way, I guess it's like there's an energy of Hanuman in September. If you know Kirtan and Hinduism, Hanuman is the monkey god who serves Shiva, but he performs miracles in the name of his service. Like he is so devoted to Shiva that he'll find ways to do the impossible, to serve the divine. And in a way, I feel like September is the accessing of our personal Hanuman, coming so into what matters to us, that we will do the impossible for it. And we will find a way to make the new world happen, to make the new earth happen. And there is this sense in the sky of like, okay, everything has changed. New world is set. New vibrations are here. New codes are here. Over to you, humans. How you're going to do it differently. And in a way, that's where the rebirth comes in, and where the new reality comes in. And it's very much the other big theme is balance. So you've got this kind of theme of balance in September and practical service, and at the same time, you've got an eclipse, an eclipse window, and all sorts of other amazing astrology. So I think what we can safely say is whoever you are right now is not who you are going to be by the end of the month. And the wounds or the themes that are coming up now are things that you will not be taking through the other side of this portal. But on a really practical level, like what the field is showing me is like, this is where you lag. The things that we'll be highlighting at the beginning of this month are where you lag, where your life isn't true to what you know to be true. And there's a kind of cleanup job about to happen in the upcoming eclipse window. So it's an exciting month, and it's filled with necessary and beautiful growth. And so let's have a tune in, and then we'll go into the forecast. When you're ready, closing your eyes. And breathing in love. And breathing out gratitude. Breathing in love. And breathing out gratitude. And as you breathe in love and breathe out gratitude, bring your attention to the energies of September 25. Observing what you notice about them. What do you see in your mind's eye as a response to these energies? What's happening in your nervous system? What's happening in your body? And connecting it to who you are right now. What the map of your life is showing you and stirring up. And open your heart to the other side of the month, to the end of the month. And what is on the other side? In terms of how you feel. What is happening in your nervous system? How you breathe. And just give yourself this moment right now to align with the most beautiful version of the possibilities of you. At the end of this month. And understand that September 25 is how you get ready. And notice how that makes you feel. Become aware of the readiness. That is occurring inside of you. that is getting ready for something as pivotal as a new baby. And understand that you can only get ready by being readied by the process of the next few weeks. That you're going to have to submit and accept. And allow the universe to take you into this new reality. Notice how you feel about that. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come into it. I would love to hear about how you're feeling and what you're sensing about September 25. As you know, I love Magic Month to be co-creative, so please share your own wisdom and your own guidance. And we'll go into the forecast. And so, what happens at the start of the month, really, from my view, is it kind of sets the tone. It sets the main reason it sets the theme for the month. You know, it sets the tone, the atmosphere. And September 1st, the very start of the month, we have retrograding Saturn return to Pisces. And this, if you've been following the astrology this year, Saturn is one of the gods of change planets that change signs in May. And it was a huge shift, the change of sign with Saturn, because really this year is the astrological end of our karma of separation consciousness. Because Saturn was moving out of Pisces and into Aries, it's the like completion of a 28-year cycle and at the beginning of a new karmic journey. And what happens is when the outer planets change, they like change, give you a flavor, give you like get you used to it, and then they change back for one final kick, final push, final lesson in what they've changed out of. And then they change and they stay permanently and for like years and years and years. And so, you know, this is the last big moment for the karma of separation. And you know, Saturn is the planet of law and order and karma. And I love my guide's description of karma. My guides say that karma is the journey of coming back into alignment when you've got out of alignment. And so when Saturn moves back into Pisces and back into this old cycle, with Saturn, what you usually get at the very end of its cycles is the reward. You get the alignment that was missing before. You get that moment of clicking back into contact with the divine, essentially. And it will be themed around Pisces, but it's also bigger than that. You know, the Western and Vedic astrology were both talking about this also being not just a normal end of a Saturn cycle, but the end of separation consciousness, which is much bigger than the Saturn cycle. It's 2000 years. And so, and actually longer in some viewpoints. And so this is kind of, it's almost like, the best way I can describe it is, you know, when you've been learning a lesson and the universe has had to teach you that lesson many, 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 many times. And then you've learned the lesson, and then the universe sends you a test to make sure, not to make sure that you pass, but to make you sure that you've learned the lesson, because you get the opportunity to do it differently. You know, you get the opportunity, say like you're always going for the same type of person and it's a very destructive, unhealthy thing. And then you learn your lesson, and then the same type of person comes into your field, and this time you don't fall into the same trap. And that's the moment where you know that you have completed, you know for yourself that you've crossed that threshold. It's never going to happen again. This is no longer in your field. It's no longer part of your way. And in a way, you know, that's what's happening at the start of the month, is that Saturn, and it very beginning of this month, tomorrow, and then all the way until February 15th. And I'd like to point out that's just after Valentine's Day. And so there really is this this period now where the universe is going to present things that would have sent you into separation consciousness, survival mode, and you get a choice to correct karma by doing it differently. And the thing that separation consciousness is humans' ability to lie. That's what it is. It is our ability to separate our voice and our hearts. That's where our separation consciousness is. Also in our ability to separate our masculine and our feminine, to do one and not the other. And, you know, right now, you're probably being presented with things in your life that are like, are you going to do it differently? Or are you going to do more of the same? Are you going to go around the next karmic cycle with the same wounds that you've done on the last one, or are you done with them? And so it's a very, very powerful start to the month. And then straight after that, we have definitely the most delicious and beautiful sacred astrology that we can live under. And that is a minor, so we're living under it at the moment. There's a minor grand trine, which A trine is a triangle, and it's between Uranus, which is sudden change and revolution, Neptune, which is soul, and Pluto, which is power. And in this trine, they are so harmonious that, you know, it's been described as the most beautiful thing to happen in astrology in the 21st century. My guides describe this trine as the sail that catches our winds of consciousness and carry us to the new earth. It's perfect harmony for enlightenment. Basically, it's perfect. And the peak, so this trine is for 3 years, but there are 3 peaks of it. The first peak, which is when they're all at exactly 1 degree, the peak of that peak is the 2nd to the 4th of September. So, you know, what you've got on the 1st and 2nd is Saturn turning retrograde, Saturn in retrograde, going back into Pisces. And then you've got this amazing trine that is helping you to be in your higher self consciousness and be in your higher choice and be the most beautiful version of yourself that is the opposite of that misaligned, separated consciousness self. So the sky is fully supporting you in doing it differently. And at the same time, on the 2nd of September, Mercury, which is communication, enters Virgo. And, you know, Virgo's at humanity, Virgo's service, Virgo is yeah, our ability to be in that Hanuman power, to make things happen on a 3D practical level, you know. And so in a way, the sky is saying, when your voice stops lying and comes into service, when you come into clarity of why you're doing it, why you're saying it, when you come into sacred appreciation and attention of how you're showing up in your humanity, that's it. That's the breaking of the karma. That's all we ever needed to do. Not even the breaking of the karma, that's it's more, it's remerging, it's returning. And so this is all at the beginning of the month. It is amazing. If you haven't signed up for the togetherness prayer, come and sign up, because we've got, I presume right now we must be at about 3, last count was 250, but I know more people are signing up. So I would say we're probably around 300 or over 300 prayer keepers, and from all over the world, and held in prayer is this incredible ceremony where we hold each other in our heart energy. And as we hold each other in heart energy, we bring our hearts into oneness. And so what you're doing is you're bringing yourself through the ceremony as close to your higher self as possible. Because when we are supported, when we are surrounded by love, when we are in collaboration, when we are in the miracle body, which all of this is tangible and all of this you feel, you know, that's when you are in that new choice. Because all of those karmic choices, all of those pain body choices, all of those misaligned choices, they are from not living in that way. They're from not having enough support, not having enough love, not having enough togetherness. And so by saturating ourselves in this, we're really helping this integration of the potential of ourselves and also humanity. And we're going to do it in such, the energy of this prayer is beautiful because it's overlighted by the hummingbird. And the hummingbird is like, find the magic and the joy in all things. And, this prayer is happening at this hugely important moment with the trine and with Saturn and everything like that. So please, I'm so happy you're joining the prayer. Please send up, and please, please, please tell people about it, spread the word, share the link. The more people we can get into this prayer, the better. Like the more this prayer is pulsing with human hearts, the bigger the impact. And we don't have many windows that are as good as this one, so we don't have many windows that touch you, that are the end of the karmic realignment and the perfect harmony in the sky. And we have this trine. We have 3 peaks of it. This is the first one. So please tell people about it. Please spread the word. We would be so grateful. And I'm sure the people you invite would be great. So yeah, come and join the prayer. And then on September 4th, we have Mars squaring Jupiter. So just at the end of this peak of the minor grand trine, there's this real, Mars is a very big energy. So is Jupiter. Mars is the go-getting energy. So it's like, I feel like you're going to be really energized and motivated at the end of this. There might also be some tensions and some challenges. Like a square is not always harmonious. And in a way, part of what's being corrected in this karmic journey is the push of the warrior rather than the way of just expanding. Like Mars is the warrior, Jupiter is the way of receiving and expanding. And so much of the karma is about this, the masculine without the feminine, and the feminine without the masculine, and the masculine without the feminine is push, push, push. And the feminine without the masculine is reject, reject, reject. And these are the energies in us, not the masculine or feminine, but the ones that are without each other, that are being purified and being cleaned. And so there's gonna feel like that clear out there, on both levels. Actually, I feel like the feminine and the masculine are gonna be going through the washing machine in this month. And then on September 6th, so this is, if you've been following Magic Month, you'll know that all of the outer planets have been so important. Uranus moving into Gemini was considered the official birth of the new Earth, and David and I actually did the astrology for the birth of, for this date. And the birth chart is amazing. It literally describes everything that's been channeled about the new Earth. It's absolutely is a totally different vibe from the old world, and it's amazing. And so Uranus in retrograde for the first time in Gemini in this cycle which is set, you know, Uranus is going to be in Gemini for 7 years. Uranus, yeah, so this is the first retrograde in Gemini. And when our planet is in retrograde, what it's doing is it's forcing you to go inwards, essentially. And so this is our first opportunity to really meet the themes of Uranus in Gemini within ourselves. And the themes of Uranus in Gemini are all about relationship. I believe what Uranus is going to shake up is where because Uranus shakes it. Uranus shakes and breaks, right? And so Uranus is going to shake up and break open where we are not in divine conversation, where we are not in sacred relationship, where we are going through the motions rather than being in true communication. And when it's in retrograde, that's about ourselves. This is about how are we expressing ourselves to ourselves? How are we treating ourselves? Are we ignoring and censoring ourselves? Are we being authentic? You know, that's what this retrograde is going to be about. It's obviously deeply important because it's medicine for the wound of separation that is all about lying. And I think what you're going to find is it kind of, the problem is in separation, we've not been very good at recognizing when we are lying. And I know that sounds really strange, but genuinely, we've managed to become so separated from ourselves that we lie to ourselves, you know, and that's why we stay out of alignment. And this retrograde, when I tune into it, it's almost going to make it impossible to not to ignore those lies to yourself. They're not going to be comfortable. They're going to be wriggling in you. You're not going to be able to just put them away. They're going to be there. And in terms of and you know, lying isn't just direct lies. One of the things that's come out of body love recently is that one of the practices you could do for this retrograde is to try and complement everything. Complaining is actually a form of lying. And so what would it be like? What would your day be like if rather than running constant complaints, you were running constant compliments? How would that change the way you treated yourself? How would that change the way you interacted with the world? What would it mean? And then on September 7th, so straight after this retrograde, we have the blood moon eclipse in Pisces. And, you know, this eclipse window brings the new code. It brings in when I've tuned in about the eclipse window, and those of you that know Magic Month know that I really have dedicated so many years to the importance of eclipse windows. When I've tuned into this eclipse window, that are always about shadow work and transformation, what I understand is that this eclipse window, it's when the new code, the code that has been forming all summer in a way like the astrological chart of the earth, or the new information lands into reality, a bit like mum now has baby. You know, like a bit like that. It's a bit like, here it is. This is the new, and it's here, and it really feels like that's a huge part of this eclipse window. I feel very much that the male and the female energies are going to be a huge theme in this eclipse window. As is our ability to stay in balance, stay in center, stay in our own energy field. This eclipse window has a theme of rebirth that is just, it's not conceptual. It's like here, real, you know? And so, and you're going to need energy for that. Is what I'm going to say. Like, it feels like it's going to be, eclipse windows are always stormy because they bring up the shadows. But what I feel is going to happen in this eclipse window is it's not just the shadows coming up and out, it's also the subconscious being recoded around the new beliefs, the new information, the new earth. It is a kind of a time that our collective and personal consciousness move away from the way of lying and into the way of reflection. And then that's amplified on the 999. You know, September is an actual 999 year, September 9th. And 9 is the number of rebirth. It's the number of endings and beginnings, and it's the number of graduation. In numerology, it's also spiritual enlightenment. It's the graduation point on our journey. And so this is really when the universe is like, you're not teenagers anymore. And, you know, one of the definitions of that has been made really clear to me in a workshop I was running this morning, which is that in order to fully participate in the co-creation, we have to produce our own energy. We can't just take all of the energy around us. We have to produce our own prana and produce life force energy. And our ability to produce karma, the only way we produce prana is by having our male and our female energies in perfect harmony and in perfect balance. That's when we naturally produce our own prana. And when we produce our own prana, then we're able to create the world we want to create, rather than be at the mercy of the collective consciousness and the world that everybody else has created. And so in a way, this eclipse window is, I believe, going to take you into all of the ways in which, you know, karma, you could say, is when you're not producing your own prana, because karma is when you do what's right for somebody else as opposed to what's right for you. Or when you manipulate rather than generate. Or when you extract rather than express. And so it's going to be a big eclipse window. And it's going to be disorientating as well. That's the other thing. When I'm tuning in, it's like almost dizzying. because the actual orientations in our personal and collective shadows are going to be changing. Our values at the deepest level. In exactly the same way that people's values change when the baby's here. How many of your friends have been like, I'm going back to work? And then they're like, I'm not going back to work. It's that, you know, that fundamental change. And then on September 13th, the sun is conjunct with Mercury. And so, and you know, the sun being conjunct with Mercury is it, after this 9-9, you're going to start to get the clarity. It's like you come out of the dizziness and suddenly it's like, oh, now I know what I want. I've got new information. I can see the path that I couldn't see before. It's like suddenly things are going to start moving. And then on the 18th, Mercury enters Libra. And Libra is all about balance, you know? This is right in the middle of the month. The medicine is balance. It's not one of those eclipse months that feels like wild. It's one of those eclipse months that it presses you to be more balanced. You know, it's sensible for an eclipse month. And then what we have is Venus entering Virgo. And you know, Venus is heart. When she enters Virgo, she invites you to do self-care, to pay attention, to look after all levels, to treat your body as a temple, to eat healthy. And this is really where, you know, the month gets these themes of balance and self-care. They're the medicine this month. The rest of it's just happening. You know, the shift in code in the eclipse, that's happening. And then on the 21st, the solar eclipse at the end of the eclipse window on the 21st, which is also the equinox. So balance again, come back into balance, unite the masculine and the feminine. We have the solar eclipse in Virgo. And, you know, it all comes together. This is the energy of Virgo is like, you know what you need to do and you're going to do it. The eclipse is just going to push you into that Hanuman power, that ability to make it happen, to be of service to the running of how it all works. And technically the 22nd is the eclipse, but the 21st, 22nd is sorry, the 22nd is the equinox. And it'll feel like there's this real breath of I'm in harmony. And at the same time, Mars on the 22nd as well, Mars enters Scorpio. And in a way, there's that sense with Mars in Scorpio of the, you know, the warrior that was wrestling with Jupiter finally submits to intuition and instinct. And then on the 23rd, which is the last astrology in the month, the sun, which is truth in astrology, is opposite Neptune. And this is when it is time to dream. The fact that there's no astrology after that's significant, you know, when the sky is really spacious. The sky's like it's over to you, dream whatever you want. But make it beautiful. And really, really, really what I feel when I tune into the energy of September is there is just this complete purification of everything that is in the way of your soul plan, of your dream. Of what you are actually here to do. Because what you are here to do is it's going to be part of the miracle that makes the new earth. And suddenly, by the end of September, that's all that's going to matter. And all of the noise, the shoulds, the lies, the rest of it, it's just gonna not be there. In exactly the same way, mum with new baby suddenly doesn't care about going out clubbing. And is just there dreaming and loving with the future. And so it's a really sacred and it's a really, really beautiful month. And if you harness the energies this month, if you work with them, if you submit, it's a threshold that we don't come back from. In the same way that, like, once baby's here, that's it. You don't go back to your old life, you know. That's it. And tending to the service of that is the joy and the pleasure. And it's something deeply intuitive, you know. And so that's the forecast. I'd love to hear from you all about how you're feeling about the month. And I have a course that has derailed even Starlight's channeling course. Starting on the 1st of October. And what this course is a vision quest with your path. And it is a 13-gate journey of letting go of all of the noise and resistance, all of the reasons why you can't, all of the things you think you should do, all of it. And instead dropping into listening and falling so in love with your path. that you cannot not walk it, you know? And so it's 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 called the beautiful way, and it's an initiation, and it is time to dream with your soul and to let your soul plan lead you rather than all the other things that usually lead us. And there's all sorts of beautiful things in it, like we're gonna have a weekly drop in where you drop in, you listen, and then you share with other people what you're going to do, what your soul's told you to do, and then 2 hours later you come back together and actually are accountable for doing it. But it's very much not about marketing or about it. This is the abundance that comes from communing, not from capitalizing. It's the path that happens when you're listening. And so it's a very, very sacred journey. And yeah, if you're feeling called to it, then I'm excited for you, because this is the year of the snake, which is when paths get initiated. And I sometimes you hear that stuff and you're like, don't know if that's true. It was really true for me. My first land tantra, starlight, all of it began in the last year of the snake, 2013. But if you're not listening, if you're not giving the time to really vision and listen and integrate, then how can you initiate? This is the time where we have to it's the time where our paths are meant to just be love and nothing else, and where we do it just because we're so in love with it that we can't not. And so if you're interested, then sign up and you will get an email about it soon. And I have all the description and everything, but Spirit's just like, no. This is the way that the universe, this is the way your path works. You do one thing and you wait. And so that's how it's happening. And so, and to be honest, the beautiful way, there is nothing else I'm going to do. Like, there's nothing else I'm going to do over that. I don't want to do anything. I'm not even, I might run one shadow healing live over the eclipse, but I know that all I need to do right now is get ready for the beautiful way and do the prayer in the land work that's happening. And so, yeah, it's I don't have anything else to offer you. But yeah, I really hope you have amazing Septembers. Now is the time we're coming out of survival mode. And I've been lucky enough to touch. So I've been lucky enough to be doing the Soul Code course that has literally shown me in a full-bodied experience what's on the other side of survival mode, and it is beautiful. Like it is beyond beautiful. You're just, when you're there in that place, all you're feeling is love and divinity. And that's what you're vibrating. And, you know, this month is an opportunity for us to really change that gear. And so use it. Go through the threshold. Be a way shower. Be someone living in the new earth. And the rest of the earth is in a failing survival mode. Be part of the prayer. Please spread the word. I'm gonna go because I have to go to Glastonbury. I love you all. Thank you so much for coming to Magic Month. All my love to you.